So earlier this year, there was rumblings that there was a clone brand that was being sued by Tom Ford because their bottles looked almost like the originals from Tom Ford. Um, at that point in time, I didn't want to miss out on any of them because I heard they were really good. So I picked up the ones I was interested in, like the Neroli Portofino clone called Porto Neroli, and then I also got this one, in which I've been testing out pretty much for the last 3 months. So I'm going to be doing my full review of a clone of Tom Ford's Ombre Leather. This is Maison Alhambra's Amber and Leather. So without further ado, let's get it. What's good, my great smelling dudes? Welcome back to my channel. My name is Randy, aka FragranceDoud. Thank you guys so much for joining me for yet another video. Before we get into the video, as always, if you haven't already, please subscribe. I'd greatly appreciate it. I hope that you guys had a fantastic Thanksgiving, as well as comment below. Let me know if you like this fragrance, what other clones of the Ombre Leather that you really like, and then also hit the like if you could. Help out your boy. So again, about 3 or 4 months ago, there was news out there that Tom Ford was suing Maison Alhambra, aka Lattafa, because they were cloning the Tom Ford brands. But not only that, they were also cloning the bottles. Neroli Portofino, like I have Porto Neroli behind me. There's a couple other ones that they had in their line that look almost exactly like it. With that said, in the last month or so, they have been re-released. And now I don't know if they're just becoming more prominently available again, like Tobacco Touch and whatnot, and they look almost exactly like the Tom Ford. So I'm not sure what happened with the court case, if that was just a rumor or whatnot. But with that said, I decided to pick up a few fragrances before whenever that was happening, just so I didn't miss out on them, including the Neroli Portofino clone, Porto Neroli, and then this clone because I've been really getting into leather this year. You guys know, if you watched my channel last year, I was kind of against heavy leather scents because they just come off to me like a leather couch or like leather interior of some sort. And I've just been slowly gaining the adaptability towards that type of scent. While it's still not something that I wear on an everyday basis, I really am enjoying it. But today we're going to be doing I don't have the full bottle of Tom Ford's Ombre Leather. I have some decants. I did spray the decant on my left hand here so I can compare it, even though I've already done that. But today, what we're focusing on is a full review of Maison Alhambra's Amber and Leather. You can tell, so of all of the bottles, like the ones that are cloning their private blends, they look almost exactly alike. This one, you can tell it's cloning Ombre Leather, but it's cheap as heck. Like, this is like a piece of cloth that just says Amber and Leather on it. The cap's plastic. But with that said, the atomizer, oh, wrong hand, the atomizer is actually quite nice. And it comes with a crap ton more than what you get with the original. I think this is a 3.4 ounce. Let's see, 3.4 ounce, and it's an eau de parfum. Yep. So with that said, what is in this fragrance? Well, I'm going to give you a little bit of the notes so that you can understand what is in this fragrance. If you don't know anything about Tom Ford's Ombre Leather, I can't really help you with that, but a little bit of the notes of Amber and Leather are cardamom, leather, patchouli, amber, and violet. But I do have to say, so the cardamom in this really just gives a kind of semi-warm and spiciness in the background. This focuses mainly on that leather. It is a very nice, soft black leather that is in this fragrance. It is a very beautiful fragrance. I got this for $14 on Fragrance Buy. I mean, Fragrance Buy has some of the best sales out there, so, I mean, if you can find this, get it on Fragrance Buy. But it is probably 80 to 85% close. I hate saying percentages, but as far as the closeness to something, this is getting almost exact to the original Tom Ford's Ombre Leather. Well, you can tell which one is Ombre Leather because this one, even though it is leather heavy, you can tell that there is a more prominent amber note. This is more of a warm and less rich amber than what you get with the Ombre Leather. But I can tell you, the blend here is fantastic. For a $13 fragrance, I honestly don't think you need to pick up the original Tom Ford's Ombre Leather unless you want that exact smell, because this is not exact. There are still pieces of it that are missing. Like there's a little bit of spice and woods that you get in Ombre Leather you don't get here. The amber is a little bit more rich in Ombre Leather, and then also the leather in it, while this one is more of a soft leather. That one still is a soft leather, but it has a little bit more of this almost realistic leather. While this one is realistic leather, it's almost like you're smelling straight leather right off the presses, like right after they made it, compared to this one where it does smell like it was synthesized a bit. With that said, both of them smell super close, and I'm just nitpicking at this point in time. So anyway, when you first spray this on, you get that soft leather accord that comes in. It's a very beautiful leather. Again, it's soft, and then you have this delicious amber behind it that provides just a warm and slight richness to it, but it's more of a soft and warm amber mixed together with a little bit of this warm and spicy cardamom. It says that there's violet in it. There is a slight violet tone underneath it, but it's not something like you get in the Mercedes fragrances or the Dior Fahrenheits. The violet in this provides just kind of like an undertoned nuance of what you get from violet. Oh, not the petroleum vibe or anything like that, just a slight, almost like an aromatic, slight florally tone, and it's very beautiful. This whole fragrance is very well blended, and it is very simplistic. So ombre leather, from opening to dry down, for the most part, is very simplistic. Has a slight fruity tone to it. If you're looking for more of a fruity leather, then you would go obviously with Tuscan leather or the clone of it by the same house. Maison Alhambra's Toscano leather is a clone of Tuscan leather. It doesn't get it as close as this one does to ombre leather, but you'll understand what I mean. It has that kind of fruity leather that Tuscan leather has, that black tie from Fragrance One has, but this has a slight fruity tone to it, but you're still going to be more focusing on the fact that it's a nice blend of about 75% this soft, warm leather mixed together with a very soft and warm amber, a slight touch of spice from the cardamom, and then as you move your way into the dry down, that leather kind of fades, and as the amber starts to pull up, you get a little bit of this smooth and creaminess from it. I'm not sure exactly where that's coming from. Maybe the woodiness, because there is almost like a warm woods in this as well. But overall, it's a very simplistic fragrance that doesn't change too much into the dry down. You do get a slight more bit of spice, but I'm going to just concentrate here. It is just amber and leather across the board with a little bit of a soft, warm spice and woods in the background. The fragrance is just really nice. Amber and leather. If you can find this and you can get it for under $25, even $30, I think that it is something you definitely should try out. As far as clones are concerned, again, this is going to be one of the ones that I will be mentioning a lot on my channel, because amber and leather, when I first got it in, again, I still was working my way into leather, and so when I first got it, I thought it was a little bit cheap on the cheap side. But then I smelled it whenever so I had it on my hand, and I was wearing it the day that I went to Sephora, and now Sephora does have a lot of the Tom Ford private blends, and they also have the ombre leathers. And so I smelled the ombre leather eau de parfum, and while this one's more of an ombre leather, the parfum, this one kind of does smell a little bit more like the eau de parfum once I smelled it in store. The parfum, it has a little bit more of this denseness to it, while the eau de parfum actually has that softness that this one has. So, and apparently ombre leather eau de toilette's supposed to be coming out soon. I don't know if that's true or not. We'll see how close that is to this. But amber and leather, very good. Doesn't get it exact, but it is a very nice clone. If you're looking for something, you want to save some money, you want to get that nice soft leather, realistic leather, and some amber. Amber and leather will definitely do that for you by Maison Alhambra. As far as the performance is concerned, it is a little bit less than the Tom Ford, which is surprising because usually clones get a little bit more. The Tom Ford, I get about 8. This one, I get about 6 to 7. But again, I've only worn it a few times over the last few months, so I don't quite remember what I was getting. And over the last few months, I took a shower at around 6 or 7 hours, so that was around about the time that it lasted. As far as the performance, like the projection, sillage, and stuff like that, it's above average for the first 2 hours. And then it calms down and becomes more of a personal bubble for about 2, and then it calms down for the last 2 or 3 hours. And that's about it. Very good fragrance. I would give this, as far as a clone is concerned, if we weren't talking about any other fragrances, if it wasn't cloning anything, I'd probably give this fragrance around an 8. But because I know it's a clone, as far as clones go, it's about an 8.5. So yeah, It's up there with some of my favorite colognes that have been released. So let me know if you like that fragrance, other ombre leather colognes that you might think are better, worse, whatever. Let me know in the chat, and again, I'll be back with another video. Thank you so much. Peace out.